For the Season 4 core finale, we get what is, in my opinion, one of the most impactful chapters of the entire series. An incredible story about Subaru, a showing of Emilia's progression, and a moment that seems triumphant after episodes and episodes of misery, but maybe not everything is as it seems. Let's not waste any time and get right into the summary and analysis. The episode begins with Subaru picking up right where we left off and charging Ram. In the novels, he intends to do the same thing he had done to Meili, and he felt no compunction about killing her. He had already killed Meili. There wasn't much difference between one person and two, and in his mind, the ghost Meili points out her poor balance. With the seasoned murder's guidance, he could kill her without trouble. Of course, however, she isn't stupid. She didn't come alone. The atmosphere freezes, and with a loud crack, Subaru is swept up and locked into a cage of ice as Emilia appears behind her. Emilia wants to inquire into Subaru's state, but Ram tells her that it's pointless. It's dubious whether this person even is Barusu. She heard about it in Bristella, an archbishop capable of changing shape and transforming into people. She will make this imposter speak and reveal the locations of the real Barusu and Meili. Hearing that, Subaru notices something. The real Meili. They weren't the ones who found her corpse, and so he makes his next move. He yells out that he lost his memory. Silence overtakes him for a moment before Ram refuses the answer. If he forgot everything, then what about Rem? When Emilia tries to stop Ram, she grabs her and throws her to the other side of the room, using the opening to point her wand directly at Subaru's head. Tell me one more time that you forgot. That you forgot Rem, with that voice, wearing that face. He could see the atmosphere warping around the tip of her trembling wand. He couldn't think of the words to stop her, to stop the tears of the girl in front of him, who looked like she was about to cry. If it was Natsuki Subaru instead of Natsuki Subaru, would he have been able to find the words? A white light flashed, and then... He regained consciousness. A sharp pain exploded behind his eyes, and he looked around the room. Without any sign of Emilia and Ram, he sees it. Natsuki Subaru was here. The stone wall had been carved out raggedly, hammered into a bare canvas. Every wall of the room was filled with that pathological message. The hell is this? This is one nasty-looking room. Reid coming into the room is like, I don't know, man. It's just a kick in the fucking balls. Which is what I think ReZero is seriously at his best, when things keep getting worse and worse and worse, and all you could do is lean back in your chair and go, how the hell do we possibly get over this? When Reid turns to leave the room, Subaru's like, I thought you weren't supposed to leave the second floor. And he tells him that that isn't wrong. That assumption broke down is all. And now he's gonna leave the tower. What the fuck does that possibly mean? Why would Reid be bound to the second floor and suddenly have that change? Do you guys have any theories or ideas? Please let me know in the comments below. Also, this section and the one after it have the most cuts in this episode, so be sure to stick around until the end. Subaru asks Reid what the hell is going to happen with the examinations, but he just flicks him in the forehead. He has one last thing he wants to take care of before he leaves, and then he finds it. We cut to Julius fighting in a room filled with monsters shrouded in flame. The tower had transformed into some kind of hell. Writhing crimson flames, and the discordant noise of countless babies crying. The single knight, his white uniform stained from the furious battle, faced off against an overwhelming number of enemies. Behind him, an inferno boiling up threatened to incinerate Julius. The mediocre man watching the battlefield from above could see it clearly. In the novels, Subaru is described as having been mesmerized by Julius's blade. It was the fruit of constant unwavering training. If they were to face each other, Subaru would lose miserably without leaving so much as a scratch on him. Even in a match with wooden swords, Julius would pummel him without breaking a sweat. Meili aims to seize the advantage. If he just lets him die, he would be able to read Julius's Book of the Dead, but still, something within him stirs, and he yells. Julius evades the attack, casting off his cloak. Reid leaned forward, embarking on the same one-way trip to death that Subaru had taken. However, he survived unscathed, even crushing a centaur underfoot. The focus on the centaurs shifted to him all at once. So too did the knight who had been so valiantly acting as their opponent. Reid turned all the centaurs around them into mints, exploding into blood that showered the tower. And as Reid challenges Julius to continue the examination, Subaru could make out Julius's yellow eyes as he looked up at him. They were filled with doubt, shock, and many more emotions. And as Subaru was consumed by the urge to run away, he entrusted him. It was a cracked, battered trust. Julius was putting his faith in an unreliable bond, but those words that he shouted made Subaru understand. This was Julius Jaculius' resolve. Springing into action, Subaru forced his heavy legs to move. He didn't know where he was going. He didn't even know if he was running away or towards something. Why did he do that, he wonders, as Meili curses his selfishness, the man who took her life. He had no rebuttal. He was being contradictory. It didn't make any sense, and then he bumps into Beiko along with Echidna, suspicion housed in her eyes. It was a natural suspicion, though. Julius and Beatrice's attitudes were the stranger ones. Echidna tells Beiko to be wary. As per Ram, this is not the boy they know, but Beiko can't accept that. When she holds his hand, she can feel the contract between them. Subaru steps forward, and he says it. He gives up. The tower's done for. He judged that everything was already well beyond his ability to handle. He was in way over his head, and too many things he couldn't begin to do anything about had sprung up. He was waving the white flag, surrendering. Bayako tries to convince him that giving up like this isn't like him at all, and Echidna tells him to drop the terrible act. What is that supposed to mean? Where is the usual me that you always looked at? You think this is a goddamn act? If I was going to pretend to be someone, I'd damn sure pick someone better, wouldn't I? I don't know any of you. Not a single one. I lost everything. I was on my way home from the convenience store. The only thing I remember from today is talking to the shop clerk, and then I'm suddenly in another world? That's right. It's all my fault. You want to know why I suddenly snapped? Well, even I don't know. But I hit my limit. I've had it with people telling me what I am. Whatever you want from me, I can't do anything. Nothing. So just forgive me. Please just forgive me. Please just let me go home. If God is trying to punish me, I understand. I was wrong. His voice went hoarse, and there was a bitterness that stung the back of his nose as Noboru crouched down and curled up. Pressing his head against the floor, he begged for forgiveness. He didn't know who he needed to ask, so he prayed. With the names of every god he knew in his heart, he prayed. Echidna tells Beatrice to watch over Subaru while she looks for Julius, but before she can leave, he grabs her sleeve. He isn't aware why he did it, but he mutters, "Julius asked me." It caused her to hesitate, but what caused her to hesitate even more were the 3 red dots on his forehead, as a giant black scorpion fires off white lights at them. Beatrice lets out an incomplete EMT, protecting their physical bodies as the passage itself is shattered. The ground beneath them begins to crumble, and Echidna starts to collapse into the dark below. That would be, however, if Noboru hadn't grabbed her hand. Why did I take that risk, he thinks to himself, as Echidna pointed her other arm to the ceiling while the black shadow crawled around it, firing G-Wald at the scorpion. As if fleeing in a panic, there was an audible thud from one of its pincers being left behind. What are you? Whose side are you on? Not even he knows. It doesn't make sense to him either. Betty looks to him and asks, "You don't remember bringing Betty out?" And he apologizes. He has no idea what she's referring to. She replies, "It's okay." He could hear something terribly fragile and lonely in her voice, feeling like he had committed the worst sin possible in the world. But she still smiled. "Even if you forget, it is still inside Betty. The things that you built will never fade, so it's fine for now. Betty will always remember, and Betty will make you remember." It was too dazzling for Natsuki Subaru to answer. How much adversity had she overcome to forge such a steely spirit? How had a little girl developed such a noble, sublime will? Overwhelmed by it all, he struggled to hold back the heat welling up in the back of his eyes. They start to head out, however, beneath them, the scorpion's giant pincer started shuddering. Groaning miserably, burning pain assaulted his limbs. He was covered in blood as he dragged her. "Just leave me," she says. She asks him, shouldn't it be Beatrice over her? And he catches his breath. There was a sad logic to it. If he had to say who was more important to him, he would pick Beatrice, but she was no longer there. She was gone. Because she was the last one left by process of elimination, he had dragged Echidna away while cursing Natsuki Subaru, wishing Natsuki Subaru would disappear from the world. She moaned in pain. This pain, however, was her only way of repaying Anastasia. If she gave back her body now, she would hurt so bad. She would experience the fear of dying. This is hell, so Echidna feeling it in her place is enough. She couldn't get Anna's body back. She couldn't help Julius. Slipping into hell like this is just right for her. The scorn and self-reproach she quietly endured mercilessly was heartrending. Noboru was overwhelmed with the feeling of powerlessness as he watched her life slip away. Dumb and incompetent, powerless and reckless, he could do nothing but watch the lives lost in payment for that. She tells him to not feel like he has to ease this. She's fine with it. And it caused a new possibility to appear in his mind, as Melee announced his new option. He picked up a rock, small but enough to crack the skull of the girl who was already on the verge of death. It was a worthy request, to allow someone an easier death for their sake. Life was precious and irreplaceable, so the only time there was any right to take someone's life was when that request was genuine. This was the one and only opportunity for Noboru, who hadn't been able to do anything to make amends. His body wouldn't move, as if he'd forgotten how. There was a hoarse gasp as the rubble dropped to the floor with a thud. All that talk about atoning, the expedient feelings of guilt. Echidna weakly opens her lifeless eyes and apologizes. Apologizes for doubting him. He'd killed Melee, hidden her body, pretended to not have lost his memories, told lie after lie, betrayed the vow he'd been entrusted with, let the girl who had tried to save his heart die, couldn't even dirty his hands for the woman who was in her last moments, and was now just pitying himself. Shouldn't you just die? That went without saying. He wanted to die and forget everything that had happened. He had wanted everyone in the world to point at him and say Natsuki Subaru deserved to die. Natsuki Subaru despaired of himself, believing he had committed crimes worthy of that punishment. The world was becoming shrouded in darkness. Countless black hands reached out toward him. The dark, evil influence was obvious. Those spiraling hands seized Natsuki Subaru's soul, trying to melt him. His soul was being corrupted. his very being overwritten. Experiencing that ultimate desecration of life, Subaru's heart grew tranquil. Because none other than Natsuki Subaru had committed that desecration first. He ended up like that as a result of corrupting Natsuki Subaru's soul and overriding his existence. I want to die, disappear, be wiped out and destroyed, lose all form. If I come back, then turn this body into ash and erase it, as many times as it takes. Love began to bombard him. As Subaru wished for death, the evil influence that brought the end whispered love. Repeat it all you want, it doesn't matter. I don't love myself. Stop it already. Please stop. It's enough already. I already reached my answer a long time ago. I knew. I just didn't acknowledge it. I just pretended not to see it. There's no way that all those people who were so desperately, so earnestly worried about me were really bad people. I knew it. There was no way I couldn't, so I should just die. I should have tried not to stand in the light of all those people who surrounded me with so much mercy. If I endure this torture, will my plea be heard? Drink me, break me, crush me, banish me to the great beyond, so I never have to face anyone else ever again. If so, I'll accept it. I want to accept it. If this can be the end, if Natsuki Subaru can disappear. A voice chimed. A voice that cut through the torrent of love, blotting out Natsuki Subaru and the entire world. The voice grabbed Subaru's hand, and he was carried away. He stopped his legs, fighting against Emilia as she pulled his arm. Suddenly, Emilia begins to speak about a time in the capital. It was a voice recalling nostalgic dear memories. When Felt stole her insignia, how she and Puck had to get it back, fighting with Meili's big sister, Reinhardt's help, and how Subaru had saved her. That was the first time they met. Do you remember that? A fragment of memory spun by Natsuki Subaru's unimaginable string of actions. He was badly injured, and he got to meet everyone in the Roswell Manor and become friends with them. He and Ram held back the witch beasts, Roswell swooped in, and he and Emilia promised to go on a date. They had all kinds of fun at the manor, and they had their first big fight too. She didn't want him to push himself so hard and hurt himself anymore, and she didn't understand why he was being so nice to her, so she was scared. She was worried it would all end when they had their fight. When she didn't know what was happening, just getting dragged along in the flow of a scary situation, when her heart was most on edge, he came rushing to her. Do you remember what it is you said to me there? Her trembling voice, the way she said his name, the pleading tone made it clear. The Subaru there now was not the Natsuki Subaru that she wanted. Hit by the reality he already knew, his soul burned with envy and jealousy. Why is it you, Natsuki Subaru? What's so different about us? Emilia's thinking it. They're all thinking it. Bring back the real Natsuki Subaru. You should just die, fake Natsuki Subaru, even though they should be thinking it, feeling it, lamenting it. How much better it would have been if you were here instead of me, and yet... But I remember it all. What you said, what you did, what you promised. All of it. Her smile was filled with joy and expectation. What was said, what was done, what was promised, none of it. There's nothing. I can't find any of it inside of me. Not in my head, not in my heart, not in my soul, so... I don't remember. I can't remember. It's you. All of you. Who are you talking about? Risking my life for someone else? Reflexively saving someone else? Running around trying so hard for someone else, risking my life for someone else in order to achieve anything. In what world? You expect me to believe that? Who Julius entrusted? Who Beatrice believed in? Who Echidna forgave? Who Emilia wished for? It's Natsuki Subaru. The real one who was summoned into this world. It's all a big joke. There's no way that guy is Natsuki Subaru, I know. I know just how pathetic, how garbage, how hopeless, how rotten Natsuki Subaru really is. Who are you seeing? What are you even talking about? I'm not worthy of walking beside you. I'm not worthy of your hopes. I'm not strong, I'm not smart. You don't have to put your hopes in me. My name is Emilia. Just Emilia. There are lots of things I have to say and lots of things I have to hear, but right now, let me hear one thing. Please, let me hear your name. His heart shuddered deep in his chest. It was not a rejection of the Natsuki Subaru standing before her, nor a desire to reclaim the past Subaru. It was an affirmation of him. It would have been so much better if she called him a fake, if she pleaded with him to bring back the real Natsuki Subaru, if she'd cursed him. That's what he wanted to hear. He wanted to be rejected because he couldn't be the Natsuki Subaru they wanted, but she didn't think that. There are people stronger than you, and I'm sure there are lots of people smarter too, but no matter when or where, I would rather have you with me. I believe you would be there for me, and that's what I want. After all, if I'm going to be saved, then I don't care about who's capable or who happened to be in the right place at the right time or who wants to help me. What matters is that it's the person I love. Subaru exhaled. He could feel his heart racing, but at the same time, there was a scornful laugh from Natsuki Subaru in the back of his head. I get it. I understand it painfully, stupidly well. The bottomless font of power that Natsuki Subaru had, but Natsuki Subaru did not. You were head over heels for a cute girl. My name is Emilia. Just Emilia. please tell me your name." He hesitated. All of the rejections piled up inside of him. I can't do that. I can't be that. I'm not that. All of this was just a convenient play on words, semantics. Trusted, believed in, forgiven, wished for. In this desert tower, if I really do deserve all that. In this desert tower, if there's someone who could save them, if that is Natsuki Subaru, and if that Natsuki Subaru is nowhere to be found, then... The one Julius relied on, the one Beatrice believed in, the one Echidna forgave, and the one you, Emilia, wished for. If that man's name is Natsuki Subaru, then I am Natsuki Subaru. I may be weak and powerless right now, body and mind hollowed out by despair, but this is my declaration. I hope and pray that Emilia, that all of them will be safe, will be at peace. This is the most I could do to repay. No, it isn't anything so admirable as repayment. This is my pathetic plea. What Natsuki Subaru can do for the people who trusted him, believed in him, forgave him, and wished for him. I want them to be saved, and I'll stake my everything for that. The suspicion he felt toward Natsuki Subaru deep in his heart hadn't cleared at all, but that's fine. I don't want to be saved. I won't beg to be saved, and I won't cling to them. I just want them to be saved. I want to help them. If Natsuki Subaru could do that, then I'll do it. If this is my opportunity to start, then I pray that the me who sets out on this path is the same who reaches the end. And if the path you imagined is the same, Natsuki Subaru, then we're in the same boat. I hate you, but I won't complain. Even if we can't stand each other's faces, let's deal with it and get through this, so I'm begging you, let me save them. As Emilia begins to talk, the world shatters, sinking Emilia into a dark void. With his little footing, Nibiru kicked off the floor that remained and reached out for Emilia. He chased after her as she fell, closing the distance, and finally held her body close. They were falling into a shadow that was consuming the tower and guiding everything toward destruction. There was no way to resist. In each other's arms, they will be swallowed up in the shadow, and that would be the end. But it's not the end. This is it. This is where it all begins. What I started before, I'll continue from this ending. So this is a promise. I'll make the words spoken here in this world true. My hopes that they will be saved, my wish to save them. I'll start again from this ending with all of that. I'm done smoldering here. A curse-like attachment. Bring it on. I don't know if Natsuki Subaru is worthy of being loved, but Emilia and the rest of them definitely are. Even if you can't remember, even if you forget all the words I flung at you in this dying world, in this starting world, I remember. Don't you forget, Natsuki Subaru. They sank into the depths of the shadow like that. Everything was lost, returned to zero, and then the end finally came. And out of that zero came a beginning. The beginning of the battle to kill Natsuki Subaru and bring back Natsuki Subaru. That last line wasn't in the episode, but it's at the very end of the chapter and it's iconic. This portion, the end of Volume 23, is massive for this story. In my mind, episodes 8 through 11 serve as essentially a distillation of Natsuki Subaru. His dehumanization of others, his depressive distrust of others, his rejection of love, his self-harm, his crushed expectations, and the rejection of his wish fulfillment, but on steroids. It's a harrowing reminder to the viewer that this isekai journey for Natsuki Subaru has been in no way a dream come true. The premise of isekai has been used to continually highlight and make apparent Subaru's character flaws, and how those expectations could be the end of someone, but it's also not just for being isekai'd, but for the characters at large. I mentioned in the episode 10 video that Subaru now has the shoe on the other foot. He's on the receiving end of all kinds of expectations that he doesn't understand and can't live up to, just like he did to others in Arc 3. This arc has been dripping with the toxicity's expectation. It opened up with a distinction between Echidna and Echidna, and how this version of her holds no knowledge of her creator, yet she is constantly compared and contrasted to this version of Echidna that Subaru and Emilia knew. Julius must struggle with this reality where he has been stripped of everything that gives him his identity. He cannot meet his own expectations. The finest of knights who broke himself, drained himself, hurt himself, to gain the prestige and title that he holds, no longer has it, and is, whether he likes it or not, back to being the Julie that Subaru prescribed him back in Arc 3. And of course, we have the distinction between Natsuki Subaru and Natsuki Subaru, because he cannot take a step back and look at himself. He cannot believe that Subaru would do these things, and he must be a fake, and so, he gives up. He says it almost verbatim to how he said it back to Rem in Season 1. He can't carry it all, and gives up. In his breakdown with Emilia, he refuses to believe that Natsuki Subaru could risk his life for someone else, that he could reflexively save someone else, that he could run away trying so hard for someone else. What Subaru is doing is, like I said just a moment ago, failing to take a step back and look at himself. He risked his life to save Echidna. He reflexively saved her. He ran away as hard as he could for the sake of Julius and what he entrusted him with. But he can't view himself like that. He finds himself incapable of doing anything, which is also what makes this conclusion kinda sting. I don't mean that as a criticism of the content, I think it's multi-layered and beautiful. This moment where Emilia affirms his existence, affirms his value, makes him see that even without his memories, these people trusted in him, also leads him to a dark conclusion. The battle to kill Natsuki Subaru and bring back Natsuki Subaru. It leads him to the conclusion that older Subaru once had. Even if he doesn't love himself, trust himself, or believe in himself, he at least believes in those around him and will destroy himself for the sake of them. He will enter a battle to erase his own existence for the sake of this otherworldly, unknown, and distant Natsuki Subaru that he feels that he cannot be. And just like a kid in his final moments, where she finds that she has failed Anastasia, but her value now comes in feeling this pain and dying in her place, Subaru agrees and dehumanizes himself. After the events of Season 3 in the Watergate City, Subaru was unsure of his values. He decided to count himself among the people he wished to save and not use his life as a tool. People died in Pristella. People were affected by the worst powers of all, the authorities of gluttony and lust. His friend Julius is suffering untold damage because of it. Krush is bedridden. In Arc 5, he triumphantly declares that he is Natsuki Subaru to rekindle the hope of the city, but deep down, he feels that he has failed them. He failed to meet those expectations that he himself set up, and thus, the amnesia. It's a method of deconstructing Natsuki Subaru. It's a way to make him look at those lofty expectations that people hold of him because of his accomplishments, and without actually going, hey look, Subaru failed in Pristella, making him confront this prospect of him being a failure, an untrustworthy guy, and so he reverts to how he was pre-Pristella. The kind of guy who wants to save those around him, no matter the cost to himself. Which is when we get the stark contrast to the declaration of his identity in Arc 5. As he mutters, "My name is Natsuki Subaru" to Emilia, entrusted by Julius, believed in by Beatrice, forgiven by Echidna, and wished for by Emilia. And I hope to any of those who were skeptical of an amnesia plotline have seen the vision. I too was skeptical of it when I first read Volume 23, but it's seriously incredible. What do you think is the next step for Subaru? Where do you think we go from here? How do you feel about this plotline so far? Let me know in the comments below. This episode covered chapters To You, the Absolutely Worthless Excuse, Tower of the Living Part 2, God, Please Forgive Me, A Voice Chimed, and Life Starting in Another World from Zero. If you want to pick up the novels, you'd start on Volume 24 for the light novel, and Chapter 55 of Arc 6 for the web novel. Ironically, right after our expectations discussion, this episode had a lot of them. It's a fan favorite moment, it's a gigantic turning point in Arc 6, and yeah, I was moved. I won't deny it. This is an episode that will deserve the inevitable 9.9 rating on IMDb. I said this earlier, but ReZero is at its best when things continually get worse, and this episode does a great job at capturing that feeling. It's very reminiscent of older ReZero. Just when you think things can't get worse, oh, great, fucking Reid's here. And you're left to wonder how things can possibly be recovered. Anyone who watched my video last year about my reservations about Season 4 will know that I was not enthused by the tower's lighting in the trailers. I'm happy to admit that they have avoided this issue. The lighting in the tower is completely made up, and that isn't a criticism. They change it to suit the scene, which is exactly how it should be. When things are chill, it's like midday lighting. When things aren't chill, it's dark and brooding. The pacing, the way things are presented, it feels like we're so back. No longer are we experiencing this constant foot on the gas where scenes have to be unfolding at all times. They're given proper time and care to let you get immersed in the things that are happening, and the things that people are saying. What the fuck happened in Season 3? Yusuke Kobayashi, Subaru's VA, seriously knocks it out of the park at all times. His performance is continually incredible. His breakdown with Echidna, oh man, I was slapping my fucking belly. I also appreciate the scenes with Subaru's breakdown because sometimes the camera pulls away, and it demonstrates why they didn't take the claustrophobic approach to the tower that some people wanted. It's gigantic. Way too big. Needlessly big. So when Subaru is lamenting everything that's happening to him, it makes him look small, diminutive. The scene of Subaru not being able to kill Echidna is pretty much exactly how I pictured it. It's so good. And of course that final sequence, I mean, what can you even say? It's cinema. It's perfection. Subaru's breakdown, Emilia's faltering voice, the dark shadow that slowly surrounds them, and the end of them falling into the memories. It's so fucking inspired. I love that they brought back the first Season 1 ending, Styx Helix, as piano during the scene, and then dropping the Stay Alive insert from all those years ago, and having it swell when Subaru finally catches Emilia's hand. It's incredible. I give this episode a 10. It's fantastic, man. There is a good amount of content for this episode, so let's just start from the beginning. During the ice cage sequence, Subaru asks Emilia what tipped her off that something was different, but of course, he refers to her as Emilia Chan, as she says that it's the same thing as now, but he just can't understand it. Then Ram accuses him of being Capella, and in his mind, he felt a powerful aversion to that idea, but it wasn't him. A flashback of vague memories, not Natsuki Subaru's, but a fragment he'd seen in the Book of the Dead. The countless terrible treatment she had undergone in the name of discipline. Remembering that terror directly, he is hit by an intense vertigo. When Subaru blacks out and wakes up, the cage isn't totally destroyed like it is in the anime, he's just outside of it. Somehow. He also notices his shoulder is dislocated, being unable to move it when he wanted to, so seemingly, when his body was hijacked, they dislocated his shoulder to escape, and then just like in the anime, Reid enters. He tells Subaru to not go quiet on him, and to be hanging out in a creepy room like this, he must be a real sicko. Noticing that his shoulder is dislocated, Reid grabs him, violently twisting his arm and popping it back into its socket. Subaru screams out in pain, to which Reid tells him to quit overreacting. He isn't bullying him, but the babe is the one who did that to him. He can guess from the cage in the shoulder that they had a falling out. Reid asks Subaru where his friends are because he's looking for something, and announces he's going to leave the tower. He needs food and water, and booze, and girls. He wants the babe and the slutty chick. Subaru can't believe his ears and asks about the exam, so Reid flicks him in the forehead, and tells Subaru to clean up his own mess. It has nothing to do with him, except one thing. Subaru asks what that thing is, so Reid yells at him. It's always questions with you. Try doing something unexpected instead of just asking for shit. Chatting with you ain't worth my time. You ain't even a girl who's easy on the eyes. Why do you keep talking to me? The sequence with Reid, Subaru, and Julius is actually quite different in the novels. To start with, Subaru asks Reid what the hell he's going to do about all those witch beasts down there, and he tells him to put a sock in it. What do you want to do? One of your friends is surrounded by those nasty witch beasts down there, and you're just standing there? Unlike in the anime, Reid jumps down the stairs pretty much immediately, slaughtering tons of the centaurs, and when Julius asks him what he's doing here, Reid gets annoyed at how often they ask him questions. There's more than that to life, ain't there? Like the trick to being popular with girls, or brands of good booze, or how are you so strong? The trick for being popular with women is looks. A good booze to try is a liquor called Granhirt. And yes, it's that Granhirt. And as for why I'm the strongest in the world, that's because I'm me. Julius is stunned, telling Reid that in a situation like this, they should be combining their strength, which causes him to laugh at him. Guys who just do what they want are stronger and have more fun than guys who hold back. Besides, what's the problem if a few nasty burning horses start running around? No different than a little rain. Faced with a philosophy he couldn't understand, Julius looked baffled for a moment, before an intense emotion filled his eyes. Reid chuckles. That look there? That ain't half bad. And he kicks him in the stomach, sending Julius flying into the wall. The force shook the tower itself, and multiple centaurs took advantage of the opening. Julius forcefully evades their attacks. He points his left hand out at the centaurs below him, and nothing happens. Clenching his hand, his expression twisted in anguish. Reid barks that he's still not getting serious, as he slaughters the centaurs in the span of 2 seconds. In that case, there's nothing to get from playing with you. I'm out then. Julius can't believe it. He would just abandon the tower in the situation? Who would let a little rain stop them from going out to play? Besides, this place is just full of boring dipshits. The only one who could play with me was that one babe. You aren't even fit to entertain me. Julius's temper flared, but he hesitated to vent it. If he let his fury explode, he would lose any chance of restraining Reid. Noticing that, Reid is disappointed. There's no helping that nature. Julius froze. The complex feelings in Julius's eyes were pitiful, like a child seeing the summit he'd set out for, hidden by the clouds. That heartache was not something for others to see. That's when Subaru notices the centaur about to incinerate him and calls out to Julius, so a bit of rearranging and changing things around here in the anime. There's a lot more distrust and accusations thrown when Subaru runs into Echidna. She even goes as far as pointing her finger at his head, a threat of firing G-Wand into him and killing him. When Subaru says that it's already over and that the tower is done for, Echidna wonders if that means that Subaru had already achieved what he set out for. His goal was the witch in the shrine, and he got what he wanted. When Subaru breaks down, Echidna makes it clear that she still does not trust him. Cry and plead all you want. If you can't resolve any of my doubts, my answer won't change. I'm going to get Anna back, even if that means earning the hate and blame of whoever. I don't care, but I want to be able to look Anna in the eyes once she's back. She slowly lowered the finger she had pointed at him and shook her head. After the pincer blows up, Subaru torments himself. He let his guard down. Pathetic. So pathetic it makes me want to cry. Why do I have to endure so much adversity? Am I just incapable of growing? Can I not change? Adversity, hardship, trials, and tribulations, aren't those supposed to be opportunities the gods give for people to grow? Because if adversity only existed in order to pummel people, to make them bleed and break their bones, to crush their souls, and to steal their lives, then why did people have to suffer? Subaru remembers the last look on Beatrice's face. It was a look of relief, of affection for Subaru. Nothing more than that. In her final moment, she wore an expression that was far too convenient for Subaru. When Emilia saves him, it's a bit more action-y. She cuts away one hand and she pushed forward, evading, dodging, slipping past the hands that fired at her with extraordinary composure before she saves Subaru out of the hands that encompassed him. The final cut is that during his crash out, he tries to push Emilia away. He tells her that they don't make any sense and that she thinks that he's a fake. That's why she locked him in an ice cage and tried to kill him. He twisted reality, insultingly and unfairly berating Emilia so that she could never again think to try and take his hand. Emilia shouts that she would never try to kill him. She just wanted to hear his side, and she brings up the memory loss, but he shouts that it could obviously be an excuse, wondering how she could believe it so easily. And so, the curtains close on Core 1 of ReZero Season 4. I hope you all had an incredible time with this season. It went above and beyond my expectations, and while I'm worried about the state of Core 2 and how much content they have to pack in 8 episodes, I really do hope that they lock in. Jesus Christ, I've been recording for so long, my throat hurts. These videos will be right back in August when Core 2 starts, so do make sure to subscribe if you want to be reminded when they start dropping, and to see the ReZero content that drops between now and then. Thank you so much for pulling up every week. If you did, I appreciate it. The ReZero community has been awesome this year. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe for more. You can also check the description down below to become a member, which gives you benefits like early videos, membership badges, and cool custom emotes. You can join the Discord where we talk about ReZero, Kagurabachi, Jujutsu Kaisen, and all kind of stuff. Additionally, you can go to the channel store and pick up some awesome stickers made by our channel artist, so you can carry the power of Graphia with you on your water bottle. That's about it though. Thank you for watching. See ya.